Okay, welcome back. We're going to do the favorite books lab. And again, this is inside of app development with Swift. App development with Swift, and this is a unit 4 tables and persistence, chapter 6, intermediate table views. So in table views, we talked about, basic ones. That's with the emoji. There was like an emoji lesson. And now we've gone through the intermediate class, but now we're going to do the lab, which is called favorite books. And favorite books, this lab ships with Xcode project. So I went and found the Xcode project in my student files, right here, favorite book. And I launched the Xcode project. And let's just scope it out really quick before we start. Looks like they've got some Swift files here. One's a TableView Controller, and one's a FormView Controller. And they've went ahead and they've done some stuff here, like they've created property keys. This is pulling in this is a variable inside of the table view called an array of books. So they must have defined books somewhere, probably over here. Yep, here's a book class, and it's got some variable description. Ooh, it's got very nice. This stuff down here is so that you can save it to the device. You have to do this encode and decode object stuff when you try to save a custom class to a device. You can't just save book. The iPhone doesn't know what book is, so you have to say book contains these things. And when I say it contains these things, they're, they're strings, they're, what do you call it, objects, they're, whatever, bools. So anyhow, you have to be a little more specific when you start saving things to a device. All right, let's check this out. Let's also look at the storyboard. Okay, so it's a navigation view controller, which leads you to this table view. And again, you only have to define one of these cells because the rest of them are going to be based on this one prototype cell. They haven't... Yeah, there's no custom cell class yet. I don't know if they're going to do that or not. Sometimes you define a custom cell class, and then you change things inside of there. Let's see if these title, if it's connected to anything even. So we're probably going to be connecting some of these outlets too, because it looks like nothing's really connected here yet. Now here's the form, and well, the form's got some connections, so things are connected up with the form. That obviously goes over here to the, not obviously, but that's connected to the form view controller over here. So, all right, let's see what the instructions tell us what to do. Let's see what's going on. Okay, you'll find a starter project called Favorite Books in your Student Resource folder. Yep, looked it over. Okay, this is interesting. It says in this lab, the regular form view controller contains a form that allows the user to enter details about a book. In this lab, you'll replace the form with a static table view, add the capability to delete books from the main list of books, and create a custom table cell. Yeah, custom cell to better display the details. That's interesting. Okay, so let's look at the let's see if I can interpret what they're saying. And then later in this episode, let's see if I interpreted it correctly. I guess what they're saying is you're going to still have this table view, and it's going to have books. But when you click on those books, instead of letting you edit them with these fields here, it's going to bring up a different view that's just going to show you details. That would make sense to me too. There might be they might also have us add like a edit button over here, and maybe the edit button then goes to the edit this form thing. But when you regularly just click on it, it goes to show you, the books and what you have. And then usually with these kinds of things, to delete them, you wouldn't have to click on it and then a delete button. You would just swipe to the left and a delete option would show up. I hope they show you how to do that because that's the cooler way. But you can also create like a little delete button. All right, let's get started here. So the first thing it says to do is to drag a TableView Controller onto the storyboard. Now, they don't mean like drag a TableView Controller into here or into here. The storyboard is this whole area here, this white space. I'm going to give myself a little more room. And down here in the corner, I'm going to type in table, and it should pull up TableView Controller. whenever something says View Controller on it, it's usually the yellow ones, not the gray ones. See, this is just table view, but they asked for a TableView Controller. And even if you try to drag it into here, oh, I guess you could. But what they really want you to do, I believe, unless I'm mistaken, is to drag it right here into the storyboard, like that. Very similar to what you got here. So that's interesting. Let's see what they have you do with that. Interesting. All right, so I'm going to slide this down here because we're going to work on it. I want to give myself some space. So they said with it selected. Whenever I select it, I always click away, click back. Make sure that you're clicked inside of the bar up here. With it selected, go into the attributes identifier, what's it called? Attributes inspector. And then you want to select, let's see, set the content to static cells and the style to grouped. So I'm looking for something that says content. Perhaps they mean the table view selected, content to static cells, and style to grouped. Okay, I didn't read that correctly. So with not with the TableView Controller selected, I went and selected the table view inside of it. And I changed it to static and grouped over here. All right, so if I'm reading this correctly, they want us to, it says you'll be creating a form that models your existing form, kind of like this one, sort of. But it has, each text field has its own cell, and each cell its own section. You want 5 sections. You can call the sections title, author, genre, and length. The last section is going to be for the save button. All right, let me get started on this and see how we do that. All right, I think I get a handle on what they're trying to do here. So we're going to make 5 of these. See the blue little square here, cube? Now we're going to make 5 of these table view sections. You can give the table view section a title too. So I'm going to call it, this one's going to be called, well, coincidentally title, because there's one called title. And it's also going to only have 1 row. So I'm going to decrease the rows here to 1. And I'm not going to put a footer in. So let's make sure this is good to go first. Oh wait, I think we need a text field. So I'm going to type in text down here and filter out the text field. So we need a text field to go inside of this content view. I'm going to drag that in here. Yeah, I'll line it up about there and then stretch it out all the way over to the side. Okay, now that's looking good. I'm going to minimize this just because I like to do this. When I copy and paste, I like to do this. So I'm selecting away, selecting back, selecting away, selecting back, just to make sure I'm just getting title here. Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. So you got 5 of them. They're going to be called different things, they said. So one's title, one's author, one is genre, one is length. Oops. So select here, select there, length. And then the last one is called save. I'm not going to put a title in there because there's just going to be a button. It's a save button. In fact, I'm going to click on the text field and delete it. And then I'm going to look for a button. Button. Some people really say button. Button. I say button. Drag the button on there, the button there. And instead of it calling it button, let's call it save. I like to give my buttons a little extra space, you know, so it makes it a little easier for people to click on it so they don't miss the button. Yeah. Sure, let's extend it all the way. Why not? Let's make it a big button. Actually, no, let's not do that. You know why? Because sometimes your hand accidentally, you know, hits this area. You don't want to accidentally save it if you're not ready. So there's our button, save button. And we've got each of these sections with the text fields. There's got to be a back button up here. So we're going to add that in next. Oh, actually, I think the back button comes later because once you connect it to like the navigation view controller, then that becomes an option, I think. Very good, very good. So next we're going to make a new Swift file so we want to make a file that associates with this. So you know how like these other ones have their own classes, the form view class. We're going to make a new one of these. So file, new file, new file. You could, yeah, we're going to select Cocoa Touch class, hit next, and they want this to be called Book Form TableView Controller. Now, is that not confusing because we've already got Book Form View Controller? Oh, I see. Book Form TableView Controller is the difference. Book Table. I like to be a little more creative with my titling, but that's what they want us to call it, so we're going to call it that. Language Swift. The subclass has to be of UI Table View Controller. Here it is here. UI Table View Controller. Book Form Table View Controller. It added an extra little table in there, so I'm going to delete that. All right, Book Form Table View Controller next. Where you want to put it? Yep, that's a good spot. And we don't need any of this code here. We don't need any of this code here. I'm going to select all of the boilerplate stuff. That's what the instructions say. Just leave view did load. So now we got view did load. I'm going to, before I forget, I'm going to connect it to. I know it doesn't say to do this now, but you can do it now. So select the top bar here, the white bar, shake it around, make sure you're selecting the right place. Yep. And then click on this little, I don't know, letter looking thing, the third one over, and select Book Form TableView Controller, the new thing we made. And now it connects that to the code over here. And now I read the instructions. Okay, instructions say now we create the outlets for this. So the way we do that is I like to go in the storyboard first. I do my little thing again, make sure it's selected, and then click on the Olympic rings up here. And I give myself a little space when we do this because it gets a little weird. So I hold down the control button and I'm going to create an outlet for this text field. This one's going to be called title field. I'm just making that up. Maybe the book says it should be called something else, but I think it should be called title field. Control, and this one's going to be called author field. And keep doing this. Just connecting all these up. And then the last one is the button. Make sure you grab the button, the save button. And actually, this one probably should be not an outlet, but it should be an action. Action, any, touch up inside, go. All right, so the instructions dictate that the functionality for, I'm going to click back to this view here so I can see my code a little better. Open up this window here. Okay, so this is the new one we're making, this one here. I'm going to clean it up a little bit, why not? And the new one should work, they said it should work just like the old one, the one that they included. So there's Book Form View Controller here. And see, it's got outlets too, author, all this same stuff we got, but it should work the same. So they said just copy and paste the functionality for it. So I'm going to do that. So here's the old one. I'm going to throw it in the new one. And we'll fix any issues that come up, but they say it should work the same. We want the update view to be inside of view did load. So I'm going to find the view did load, put it underneath that super view did load. And this all will be a little bit different. So the update view, I'm going to copy and paste it over here because I decided to call things a little differently. This is going to be called title field, author field, genre field, length field. Okay, and let's see what else. Well, Xcode thinks about it. Then everything that's inside of this save function, copy it over. And that should go inside of this IB action save button. And again, I got to fix these outlets. They're titled something differently. Interesting stuff. All right, and then we've got this perform segue with this key up here. So I'm going to copy this key because I'm going to need that in a second, because it's going to try to what do you say? So this stuff, these segues correspond to these little arrows here. And because there's no arrow connecting this one right now, it's not going to work. So I think what I got to do at this point is I got to break some stuff. Let me think about it. Okay, so I see what they're talking about now. Here's the old book form and view controller. And here's the unwind segue. We need to make this inside of our own one here. Now, if I recall, there's something weird. You kind of control drag from this over to this. Yeah. So let me do that again so you can see. You control, then drag from the yellow over to the far orange over here, the exit, and then click prepare for unwind segue. And that gives you this little icon down here, this little prepare unwind segue thing over here. But now we gotta name it correctly, right? Isn't there like a name thing we gotta do? Where's that name? Yeah, there we go. I had to click away and then click back to it. And there's an identifier up here. We want to paste the, it should say unwind to book table. And that corresponds to, in your book form TableView Controller, this text right here, unwind to book table. Because when you perform the segue, it's going to trigger that text to unwind. For whatever that means. Okay. Moving on. Now we got to recreate these two connections here. There's one that's edit book, and that's if you click on the cells here, edit book. It's interesting. Sometimes it selects there. Yeah, if you click the whole cell. And the other one is if you click the plus sign. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag over these two thingies, segues, and I'm going to take a look at it really quick, show, push, animate, okay, and then I'm going to delete them. Bye. Here's our old junky view. We don't like you anymore. We want this new fancy one. And here's something. Why do we want the new fancy one? Well, part of the reason is, zoom in a little bit, you'll see they're different. This is a table view. This is just kind of like a regular view with some fields in it. So with the table view, you get extra functionality. You can add multiple. So maybe you want to add multiple books at the same time, like add my library, and then you could populate this with a bunch of these. So there's a little more functionality to it. It might look a little better, and it might you might be able to do some cool things with it. So okay, so let's make that connection. I think you just control drag and let go and select the push button. Oh, deprecated. Show button, perhaps. Or present modally. Let me think about this for a second. I think it's just show. And see the back button popped up there? Did you catch that? Now there's a back button there. Yay. And then control drag from here, the same place, show. I'm going to call this I'm going to call this one edit book, EDITBOOK with a capital E, capital B, And this one is going to be add book. Okay, and you see it's it used to be called push, but now I guess it's called show, and it animates. So both of those I think are correct. Gosh, I wonder if I'm going to try to build this and run and see what happens. It might break because it doesn't say to build and run in the instructions yet, but I'm just curious. I want to see what happens. Building and running. Build and run, build and run. So actually it does say in the instructions to build and run now, and it says it should kind of work. Okay, hit the plus. Now it slides out. Very good. I'm going to type some text in here. Some text in here. Click the save button. Now that's interesting because it's not showing up here. But it does go forward and backwards, so let's do some research as to why it's not saving properly. It's nice that it does that though. It's pretty much working except for the save part. Wait a second. Didn't we discover that these weren't connected to anything? So like these titles and labels weren't connected to anything? Yeah. So it probably is working. It's just we're not showing the text anywhere because we haven't created our custom cell. So I bet you anything next in the instructions is to create a custom class for this cell. That's going to be in File, New, File, and then Cocoa Touch Class. And then we're going to call it whatever they want us to call it. We're going to select UI Table View Cell. It's like it's reading my mind. Let me pause just to make sure I'm on the right track. Yeah, I think we're on the right track. I'm skipping one of the paragraphs to work on this first, but I want to see to make sure my data is saving first. So I'm going to call this book. They want us to call it Book Table View Cell. Book Table View Cell of type UI Table View Cell. Don't create the zib file, the nib file. Next. Yeah, it's a good place. Okay. Now it gives us some stuff. And now we got to make some connections as well. So again, let's do this. Let's go back to our not launch storyboard, the main storyboard, and then let's select the cell and let's make it of type. So the class is going to be Book Table View Cell. So now it's connected to that new little class we made, and I'm going to click on the rings there, give myself a little bit more space. Zoom in. Can I zoom in from here? I wonder if I can use the mouse to do that. Yeah. No. Give myself more space. There we go. Okay. Zoom in. Because we want to create outlets for these little things in here. So what we're doing is we're making a custom cell. Because what if we want to move these things around? We want them to look pretty. We want to add an image or whatever. We want this cell to be listening to our design. So title, I'm going to hold down the control button. 1 second. I'm actually going to do it from here because I think I'm grabbing the whole cell. So I'm holding the control button from up here and then dragging it in there. I'm going to call this title. Yeah, I'll just call it title. Should be okay. Sometimes it does. Yeah, oh, it doesn't like that. The reason it doesn't like that is because there's probably something else called title. So I'm going to delete that and I'm going to drag it again and I'm going to call it title field. Are you okay with that? And then I'm going to drag subtitle. Oops, I got it. I probably should have grabbed it from here just to make sure, but it seems to have worked. Subtitle field, just to be consistent, connect. Okay, now since I made 2 outlet connections on title, I have a feeling that I might have messed things up. So I'm going to go over here to this last tab. Yep, see, it's got 2 outlets, and we know title is wrong, so I'm going to delete that one, and now we've got title field left. You never want to have 2 outlets, you know. And in fact, I think they want to add some more things, because there's not just title and subtitle. In fact, I probably should do this again. I'm going to do this one again, because we really want it to match what we got, right? Title, author. I'm going to actually select the row and give myself some more space and select these two things, and I'm going to use the arrow keys, and nope, I guess I can't do that. I was going to try to slide it upwards, so I'm going to use the ruler here and then change the Y of it. Y? Oh, that's not working either. They must be locked in there. I think you might need to drag your own labels in there. Let's see. See how it's locked in place? That's because it's the one that ships with there. I don't know if I can change it specifically. It might just be easier. I'm sure you can just like somehow fix that. Now I'm just futzing around, huh? I think you have to change this from like a specific type of cell to a custom cell. Style, custom. Bam, there we go. Okay. Did you catch that? So I selected the cell and I chose style custom. Now all that stuff that I did is gone, but now we'll have total control. We'll put our labels where we want them to go. I'm holding down the Alt button and you can make duplicates. Pretty sure there were 4 total. You know what I really want over here eventually is like an image, and then you can put a little image of the book over here. I'll just put it as a placeholder for maybe in the future. So for now, I'll give it a background color of just like, I don't know, something like that. Sure, why not? And instead of image view, I'll call it, I don't know if you can put text in there, can you? Probably not. Okay, so that's coming soon. All right, so up here, instead of label, it's going to be called title. This one's going to be called author. This one's going to be called, what are the other ones? Genre. And the last one's going to be called length. And you can change the size of these perhaps, like genre and length. Those could be smaller. I like to do custom. I like the system font. I like to do custom font. I like the Helvetica New because it's just kind of an Apple thing. Oops, I want it to be small, so I'm going to make it 10. This, and I'm going to actually stretch these fields out pretty far because, you know, you can have some long, lengthy titles in books. And you can spend some time, you know, cleaning this up, making it look pretty. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. You could also change, perhaps the title has like a possibility for multiple rows. Oops, I also want to make the title and the author a custom font to Helvetica New. Okay, you get the idea. Like, you know, maybe you want the background to be a different color. Stuff like that you can change here. Okay. All right, let's see what's next. So now we've got to make some connections, and we've pretty much, yeah, you know, I've got these 2 labels here now, and you see they're empty. So these are this one's called subtitle field, but actually it should be called what? It should be called author field. And you know what? I'm just going to be lazy. I'm going to copy and paste here. It's going to yell at me because I'm calling them the same thing, but I'm going to change from author field to genre field, length field. Okay, and now you see they're empty little outlets there, but because I got this Olympic style, the rings, the assistant editor open, you can actually just drag like this. Bonk, connects it, connects it, connects, and connects. Genre is probably going to want to be bigger. Length bigger. Why not? Let's just make them all big. Biggie size them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now let's click here. I'm going to bring out this extra assistant editor and then check to make sure that I have everything connected correctly and nothing duplicated. Everything looks like it's connected correctly. And Now, let's look at our code too, because what do we have going on in that class? Switch to code mode, not the assistant editor anymore. It's giving us some errors here. What's its problem? What's your damage? What's your major malfunction? The title field outlet from the book TableView Controller to the UI is invalid. Where's it getting that from? Invalid, huh? In what way? I think I know why. Because I connected them, I didn't like have Swift just figure out what the heck it is. I think it's casting as different type. So let's do this, not again, but let me just show you what I mean. So I'm going to click the rings here again. I've got the thing selected. I'm giving myself some room. And then instead of, oops, so I'm going to select it again. Hello, internal class, internal. Whenever it says internal stuff up here, I always know it's not like selected right. There's something wrong. I can't just drag and drop. I just can't control drag over there. So let me double check everything first. I'll get rid of the assistant editor for now. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but this is part of programming is troubleshooting. So, and I'm going to check my connections here. In fact, I'm going to unselect the title field. And then I want to make sure that when I select cell, book cell, that this is, I'm going to delete this for a second and try to reconnect it. Yep, that's correct. It wouldn't let you do that if it was the wrong kind of thingy, if it was the wrong kind of view controller. So that's got to be okay. And now I'm going to click on this again, and I'm going to hit the assistant editor and try to pull up that class. It says internal class again, so I don't know what the damage is exactly with it. But if I control drag, it's probably going to give me an error. It won't even let me do that. Why does that happen? If anyone knows, let me know. So I'm going to pause it and troubleshoot here. Okay, I think what might have happened is that I accidentally dragged those outlets to the TableView controller instead of the cell. And that could have been because maybe my content view, yeah, well, whatever, it wasn't selected properly. So I need to be very careful about that. So I'm going to delete these outlets. I think, wait. The TableView Controller, I think. Yeah, yep, okay. All right, I'll delete those, and then I'm going to select the content view. Actually, I can just select the cell, that's fine too, I think. And then up here, if it says internal or something, click around until you can find a way to select. Click over here in the rings and manually select TableView book TableView cell.swift. That's where it's got to go. Now I'm going to control drag from title in here, title field, connect it up, connect each of these up. So if that, I'm going to leave this part in. I could edit this down, but I'm going to leave that in just in case the same thing happens to you. You'll know how to work through that. So if it says internal up there, what I'm figuring is that you might need to manually select it in this weird little window, slidey window up here. All right, now these are connected up, and I don't have any errors yet. And let's see, how are we gonna, now that we've got those created, that doesn't necessarily mean they're just going to magically work, right? I mean, how is it going to populate text in the title field? Well, that's what we'll show you next. Let's get out of this mode, this weird mode, back into a mode where we can breathe. and bring my file inspector out here. Now, all that you need in this cell controller is just this. We don't need a lot of stuff in here. You don't want to do a lot of things inside of your cell view, but you'll be creating in your other view, I gotta check out which one it is, a cell. And then when you create the cell, you'll be putting this stuff into it. All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm getting a little bit confused about which one's which, because we have this old controller up here, and this one connects to Book Form View Controller. Book Form View Controller. So Book Form View Controller is this one. I'm going to type in old here so that I don't accidentally start editing text in here. And in fact, yeah, we could delete it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to drag it down here for now so I don't mess with it. The new shiny fancy one is this one. So now we got our cell, we got our TableView Controller, and we've got our TableView Controller. Oh, this is the form TableView Controller. This is the TableView cell. We should really name those things different things. So I'm gonna do that right now, because you can name these this file whatever you want. So I'm gonna select up here and see. This is BookTableView Controller. BookTable, this one right up at the top. So I'm gonna put 1 here, and then usually this doesn't mess anything up. 2 here. And this is the cell, so that's its own kind of thing. So now I know the first page is this one. See, because it's connecting this text, and this text I haven't changed. If I change this text, that'd mess everything up. Then you'd have to reselect things. Okay, now that I'm looking at this, here's the cell, the book cell. We actually want to, they want to use this text. So I'm going to copy this text, book cell, and we want to assign that text to the cell we just created. So the cell we created was, it's here. If I click on it, it gets me close. Okay, and then I click up here, book cell, under the table view. Somewhere, identifier, here it is. Oh, it's already labeled book cell. Lucky us. But yep, that's what you want to do, is make sure it says book cell there. So now we know book cell means this, and then we go back into our book table view controller, and then we're going to use this text when we create a new cell. So to create the new cell, we want to look for something that says cell for row. Yeah, cell for row at index path is here. Oh, look at this. Did they do this for us already? That is so nice of them. So here it is. Create the cell using the properties book cell for index path. Huh. What else would you have to do? Let me check the instructions, but I think we're getting pretty close here because they did a lot of work for us. In fact, they're already, except, wait a second. What is text label? What does that correspond to? Oh yeah, okay. Book title, book description. Yeah, so text label corresponds to, coincidentally, what we, see, I called it title field, so we might have to change that to like that. And then, let me look at their instructions again. Because when we create a new cell, it's not going to have detailed text because we made a custom one. So actually, we need to make it not just a cell, we need to make it as something, right? We need to specify. Yeah, we need to specify. So for index path, but then here we want it to be as, exclamation point, and then start typing book, and hopefully it'll fill in book table view cell. That's what we want. So now that we say it's a book table view cell, this is gonna go red down here, I think, because we want this to be, the cell is gonna be author field. We want the book author in here. And then we got to do a couple more. So I'm going to copy and paste this because I'm lazy. And this one's not going to be title field. It's going to be genre field, book genre. So you see what we're doing? We're connecting, we're filling in the cell information with stuff about the book. Length, the book length. Then maybe that'll work. Let's just give it a shot. It'll probably break, but you know, whatever. That's part of the fun, is seeing how many times we can crash our apps and how long of a video I can make for you guys. It's 40 minutes. Thank you for sticking in there and hanging out with me. I'll try to make these a little bit briefer, but all right, so we'll probably have to make a new one. Put some text in here. Boop, boop, boop. Beep, boop, boop. Bippity boppity boo. Scuba da doo. Might have to hit the save button down here. Save and nothing. All right, let's keep working on it. Well, well, well. Okay, so the problem is we're not updating the cell here. So we actually don't need any of this junk. I'm going to delete all that. So all we need in here now is we've got our outlets, and that's great. But we also need to make a new update method in here. I'm going to call it update. Clever, huh? Open, close brackets. And so here's a function called update. Inside of this, we're going to pass in parentheses. We're going to pass in parameters of a book, and it's of a book type. Then for the title field, it's the text of the title field. Title field.text equals the book title. And we go down the list here and populate the author field with the author, the author field text, sorry, with the book's author. Okay, cool, groovy. Now where do we call this? Well, we want to call that right after we load that, or right before we load the data in. So let's go back over here to the BookTableView Controller. BookTableView Controller, and then we have to find the place where we were, yeah, we get the book table cell here. And we've got the book here, cool, we got the book. But instead of all of this jazz, because these fields aren't here, they're in the other page. So instead of all that jazz, we are going to, I think we have to update it this way. So cell.update, and then pass in the book. So the book passes into this other cell and updates over yonder. Yeah. I think that might work. Try it. I'm a little bit concerned because I think if it's properly saving data, then it should have already had some stuff there to load in, but here we go, save, and nothing's there, enough. Okay, I think there's one other piece that we're missing here, and I think I know where it is. Okay, so I think it's always a little bit weird when you're walking into someone else's code, and they've already defined what things are called. So if you start labeling things a little bit slightly differently, like I called this title field instead of title label because I didn't know, then it could screw things up. So I've called my class BookTableViewController, but I think that they wanted me to call it BookTableViewController. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to search for this BookTableViewController everywhere. So I'm going to go to Find and Replace in Project. BookTableViewController and replace it with BookTableViewController. Hit Enter, and it'll take you through each of them. So I'll look at each of these and say, yep, replace that one. Replace that one, please. Replace it. Replace the next one, please. And this one here. Oh, it's nice it does that now. It didn't used to do that, so we'll replace that. BookTableViewController up here. Now, usually when you start renaming things like that, you can you might have to reselect it over here. Like, where is it? Yeah, you might have to BookForm. They want BookFormViewController. BookFormViewController. See, I had to reselect it there. Or else it would crash. Or else. Where's BookTableViewController? Oh, that's the other one. All right, now let's run it, build and run it, and see what happens. Invalid redeclaration. So we're on to something. Let me fix it up for you. It's this old one. See, so down here, the old one's called that. So I'm going to just call it old BookFormViewController. And now it's going to give me a real hard time. You know what? I've already copy and pasted all this stuff. I'm just going to delete the old one. Move it to the trash. Get it out of here. I don't want to see it anymore. That's old junky. All right. What's your problem now? Are you sure it's an invalid redeclaration? Sometimes it takes a while for it to catch up. Bippity-boppity-boo. Yeah, so rather than troubleshooting that a lot, go back into, if it's still holding on to that old thing, go back into Product and hit the Clean button. And that kind of cleans out everything, and it gives Xcode a chance to recompile and double check. And when I did that, it said, oh, okay, yeah, you fixed it. So sometimes it takes Xcode a while to, it's kind of like, this clean is kind of like emptying your history on a web page or something like that. So, okay, now let's see, build and run what happens. I haven't seen this yet. I hope it works because we're approaching that hour, the hour marker for these videos. These videos are getting excessively long. I apologize. But I'm learning as you're learning. We are learning together. Enter in some text for each of these. Hit the Save button. Well, now I really broke it, huh? Darn it, stinker. You know what I think it'd be advisable now is to go into the storyboard and break these connections and reconnect them. So storyboard, select up here. I'm going to delete this. And then I'm going to delete this one here. I'm actually going to delete this whole thing here. That's the old way. There's nothing there. And we know, we're pretty sure we got the cell right. TableView, is that a thing? Book cell. I'm going to delete that one too. And just reselect these. So book cell gets the book table view cell. This first one gets book table view controller. No, this one gets book table view controller. And then this one gets the form. I think the problem was, I think I gave this navigation controller the wrong thing, perhaps. Let's give that a shot now. And then I'm curious about see what happens when you click the save button. It's the unwind, segue. We might have to recreate those as well. Hey, look at that. Oh gosh. Thank goodness. Thank goonies. All right. I'm just curious if you put just one field in, because I don't know if it's looking for all the fields. Yeah, it's still cool with that. All right, great. Look at that, man. Shoosh. That wasn't so easy. Save empty. Okay, it still lets you save empty. You might guard against that in the future. The last thing they want to do is they want you to be able to delete these things. Let's do that really quick. All right, I'm going to stop the simulator here. Bonk. And then we got to go back to the BookTableView Controller. BookTableView Controller. And down here, under the TableView stuff, TableView, we'll make a new TableView thingy. You just start typing TableView. And then look for the one that says commit for row at. So I'm going to scroll down. I wonder if you can just start typing commit. Yeah, look at that. So just start typing commit instead. That's a little bit easier. And then we want the one on the top here, I think. Double click on it. You might have to change this from func to override. Override func. And then down here, oh, there's a little bit of code we got to enter in here. Some magic, some secret sauce. All right, are you ready to start typing? If editing style is equal to, so 2 equals dot delete, then open and close curly brace, books, remove at index path, dot row, then we're going to also add in table view dot delete rows, hit the enter key here, it'll fill in all this jazz. And let me think about this. We're deleting the row, that's actually almost correct. We're deleting the row at the, instead of index path, it's going to be lowercase index path, and with whatever is automatically animated. So automatic animation, I guess, is their new way of saying it. Okay, so if editing style is equal to delete, remove the book and delete the row. Let's try that. I don't know, that could be all. So now this is kind of like a listener. It's listening for what if you try to delete things. Oh, mama. All right. Holy macaroni. I don't like that gray. I want to change that gray color when you click on it. I think that might be, but I'll do that on my own. I think you could, to do that, I think you go into the cell here, book cell, and then there's like a tint or highlight mode or something weird like that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just under an hour. If you've gotten to this point, then you have succeeded. If your app can create cells and delete cells, you are in good shape. Have a wonderful day. In my case, it's Friday, so have a wonderful weekend. It's my favorite Friday, Payday Friday. Best wishes, happy coding. Crack that code. We're out.